Hello to all my real people out there. This is realtvw, the man in the red jacket. Today we're going to be talking about the Asus ROG Republic of Gamers Zephyrus G14. This is my little over 1 week review. The G14. Why should you buy this? Well, for me, it's the size. This is a 14-inch laptop with powerful specifications, and these don't exist at all except for this brand and this version, right? What other 14-inch gaming laptop can you think of? Has a 120 Hz screen that's Pantone validated. The 120 Hz screen is really cool, it's smooth, it works well. I'm not a big fan of high refresh rates on phones. I tried them, I didn't like it. I don't see the point, but on a bigger laptop, it's really nice to get that smoothness. Ergonomics. This guy's got a great keyboard, trackpad. The size and weight is great. The speakers are good. You know, what's really cool about this guy, it has a magnesium chassis, and it just feels really nice. It feels nice in the hands, rounded edges. You know, some of these thin aluminum laptops feel like they're stabbing you when you pick it up. This guy just feels nice. You can cuddle it. And the cost is good for what it is, right? $13.99 on sale at Best Buy. That's what I got mine for. I think that's a pretty good buy, pretty good value. Could it be cheaper? Yeah. I mean, we could always go cheaper, but you got to pay for quality. And last but not least, this is not so important to me, but this thing has crazy performance. I don't need crazy performance. I need a machine to get on the internet, watch videos, do presentations, Word documents, and do a tiny bit of light gaming. I play more strategy games, but even though a weaker machine would have worked for my needs, this one just had the ergonomics and the screen, and I really liked this whole laptop. Okay, to cover performance very quickly, because there are other reviewers out there who do this way better. If you want to look at charts, benchmarks, if you want people to go nitty-gritty, there's a lot of great people out there. They do such a good job, it'd be embarrassing for me to even try. I'm just going to tell you why I bought it, what this does for me, why it might work for you, okay? Ryzen 9 R9 4900HS, which is a 35-watt CPU. Okay, my pro tip, if you're going to buy this machine, is do the registry edit so you can change the power plans to stop the CPU from boosting. This laptop right here was hitting the high 90s when I was doing some light gaming, video editing. It was getting really hot and toasty. It was too hot for my tastes. I'm not happy if a machine runs past 80 degrees centigrade. Once I did the registry edit, it locks the CPU to 3 gigahertz, and it is no longer going above 80 degrees even when I'm playing like Imperator Rome or Civilization 6 strategy games. It has an NVIDIA RTX 2060 Max-Q, 65 watts, very strong card. It's the same as a 1660 Ti at 80 watts. Total watts would be 100 in general, right? That's the max. Not in general, that's the max. But I think that from what I've seen from other videos, the machine doesn't run that powerful in reality, especially when you do the CPU boost stop, when you change the registry. So I think this thing is probably sucking down 90 watts max when you're pushing it hard. And also, if you close the lid, it defaults to using less power as well. So why is this interesting? Well, the power brick is a huge 180 watts. It seems like overkill. And the USB port that you can charge with this guy is only 65 watts. So I haven't done any gaming on a USB-C charger yet. I will try to do that and give you a follow-up if you're interested. I just know that if they had given us a 99-watt USB Type-C, we could probably run this thing at full performance with the USB Type-C charger, and that would have been great. Again, with the screen, 14 inches, 120 Hz Pantone validated. It's a matte screen. Personally, matte is great for productivity, but I would not mind if this was a nice, shiny, glossy screen. This screen does have a deep, rich color. And I'm going to show you the AMD Radeon settings. This screen is almost perfect. I'm really wishing that it was just a tiny bit brighter. I'd say it's 90% bright. When you hit 100 brightness, when you turn the brightness up all the way, I wish it had just one more step to hit that 100. It would be just brighter. It would be a lot nicer, I think. At full brightness, it's good, it's bright, but it's not wow. Like my wife's Yoga with its Dolby Vision display. Wow, this one is good. And it's definitely workable. It doesn't really take away from the machine. It's just to put it over the edge. A little bit brighter would be nice. Okay, looking at the Radeon settings, see a lot of YouTubers don't go into software and why you might want to buy a certain brand. So the AMD settings for the video, as you can see here, I have it on default, and I've tried Cinema Classic, Enhanced, and everything, and they do make a big difference when you're watching videos. I find default, though, to be perfect, and that's what I leave it on. But what I do like about Asus, and this is not just Asus, this is also AMD, but Asus seems to get it right. Their software just works and enhances the machine. And the AMD software seems to also be enhancing your usage. So if you buy it, you're getting this bonus here that other brands, other companies don't do. Okay, looking right here, this is talking about battery life. I believe it. I would say that you can get 10 hours of battery if you're doing very light uses and watching videos. And then, yeah, 9 hours, you know, that's also doable. I think for me, I have the screen a little bit brighter and I push it a little bit harder. This to me is a 6-7 hour laptop pretty easily. I could probably stretch it to 8 in general. I have gotten where doing a battery test, just doing some math, it seemed to me like if I had left it alone and done what I was doing, it could hit about 10 hours. And what's great here is we're talking about the Type-C charging again, and I love it. I love having that because my wife has her Yoga. It's USB Type-C. I'm filming this right now with her charger, charging this up. I have my big charger in my travel bag, so that's just a really great feature. But again, wouldn't it be nice if it was 90, 99 watts, right? The max limit that it can push out, and then this machine would just need USB Type-C. Now, I know what you're going to say. Well, if it's using about 90 watts and the charger's 90 watts, then it's going to drain a little battery when you're hardcore gaming. That's true, but I would definitely not care. Because if I'm going to be hardcore gaming, I'm probably only going to play for a couple hours. And I think with a 90-watt charger, we could get by. That would be just fine. All right, going back to some pros of the machine. Again, the size and weight is great. The keyboard is wonderful. This is a 9 out of 10 keyboard. I'd say if you want 10 out of 10, Microsoft Surface, Google Pixelbook, those are the most amazing keyboards. I mean, it feels like there's magnets on your fingertips and you are just getting in there typing. This one is almost as good. I'm not sure exactly why it's not as good. I might think the keycaps are a little bit plasticky feeling. There's just something about Surface and Pixelbook and the way their keyboards feel that's amazing. In fact, this Asus might be a 10, and maybe Pixelbook and Surface are an 11. Trackpad's great. It's glass. Works just fine. Not too big, not too small. I'm not a big fan of gigantic trackpads, right? All you need when you're scrolling is a couple inches. This is what it has. I would say that for me, a trackpad's like this. Surface device and Google Pixelbook, I don't even need a mouse. Why would you get a mouse? The trackpad works so good. It's amazing. This guy, 90% of the time, the trackpad's so good that's all I need. Sometimes I pull a mouse out though. But I don't feel like I need a mouse, right? With the Pixelbook, I'd be like, what the hell would you need a mouse for? It's so good. Like a mouse would ruin the device. For the Asus, the mouse is a good companion if you need it, whereas some laptops, you just need a mouse because the track. Again, this is a magnesium chassis. It has this smooth feeling, but there is some sort of texture. It gives you a nice, confident grip. I just love picking this guy up, taking it with me. It just feels right. Okay, here's a picture of the keyboard. We can notice here that the spacebar has that fat Asus spacebar that I love. I think that's just so cool. It makes hitting the spacebar very easy. Full-size shift keys on both sides. I use a right shift key. 100% right shift key. I need a big shift key. The fingerprint sensor, it's not that great. It's built into this odd-shaped power button. I know Asus said they were spending like $6 on each power button. And I was having a lot of trouble with it when I was registering. I registered several fingerprints and it wasn't working very well. I reset the settings. I only logged one fingerprint. It seemed to be working better. Still, I don't have confidence in it. So, is it the weird size, the design? I mean, if they had a circular power button, would it work better? Because I say, forget your stupid power button and its weird shape. I know it's an Asus shape, it's a thing Asus does, but if it's going to work better with a circular power button, just give me that. Okay, we have the nice top row keys. I do use the Asus. This little symbol here looks like an eyeball. It's an Asus thing. I like to click on that a lot. It does bring up your software. I can check things. It works really well. The volume keys are great. You can see that when you hit the function key, the up and down arrow is what changes the brightness for the keyboard. I really like how my wife's yoga, you hit function spacebar, and that changes the keyboard brightness. I think that's more intuitive, and I like it a lot. This picture here is showing that the backlit is really good, or maybe that it looks good enough and it works. It's not like that at all. The lighting for the keyboard, it's terrible. It's embarrassing. It's just not even worth using. I just turn it off and it just is fine without it. Actually, when it's on, sometimes it makes it worse. It's harder to see the keys when the backlight is on. Okay, audio. This thing has 4 speakers, right? It's got 2 on the bottom, 2 on the top. And it's got Dolby Atmos, which does work. Again, going back to why some companies are great, because their software works. The software works. The speakers, though, right here. Speakers are good for voice instruments. They got spatial separation. Not good for hip hop and bass. I mean, I was a little disappointed listening to some rap, some Kanye West. This thing just didn't feel right. It felt muddled. It felt muffled. But when I was listening to some instrumentals, wow, the instrumentals were great. It was bright and vibrant. But other kinds of music, it muddles it. It just doesn't work that well. So these speakers are like an 8 out of 10. They could use some work. Now looking at the Dolby software, I leave it on dynamic 99% of the time. I've tried the different modes. Movie mode actually does a really great job for voice, so that is something you might do if you're watching a movie, but dynamic seems to cover you 99%, gives you the best range, gives you the best sound. Some of the negatives, we've already talked a little bit about it, but that fingerprint, it's just not that accurate. Register just one finger and register it several times will probably be your best bet. The fans are always on. I've tried every setting. I've tried the registry edits. I've tried power savers. I cannot get the fan to turn off no matter what I do. It's hot. Yeah, it's always getting warm unless you're just doing basic tasks. This thing heats up quickly. Is it a big deal? No, but it does get warm. And again, the screen brightness, it's about 90% where it needs to be. These are my only cons, right? The fingerprint, the fan's always running, it gets a little hot, and the screen's not as bright as it could be. Right? The heat's not a big deal, the screen is bright, the battery life is still good even with those fans, and the fingerprint's not really that big a deal because I'll just hit spacebar, type in my PIN code, and get logged in anyway. Here is a look at the Armoury Crate software. Again, I love Asus, I love their Armoury Crate. We can see here that this is your standard operation. If you look at the frequency, we're at 1.4 gigahertz. You can see the temperature is 44 degrees and the fans are 2600, 2800. The fans will drop as low as 2400, and that's usually where they stay. So the fans are on, you can hear them, but they're not that big a deal. This is in silent mode. This is your general best case scenario. In performance mode, when I was playing Imperator Rome, again, it was hitting about 80 degrees, running at 3 gigahertz, and it was running smooth, 90 frames per second. The GPU was 80 degrees, so that registry edit that locks the CPU works very well, and I recommend if you buy this laptop, you immediately do that. If not, you're going to be running in the high 90s, and it was getting too hot for me before the edit. I was actually thinking about returning it for the Surface Book 3, but after the registry edit, I decided that this was the right machine for me for several reasons we're going to talk about as we go on.